Hello, thank you for joining the channel. This is another video on Concord in JAMB Use of English, and this is the third video on Concord. Go to the next rule that we have. This is rule 4, and it says when there is a relative pronoun, who, which, that, whom, whose, which, and other relative pronouns. Whenever we have any of these relative pronouns in between a noun or a pronoun and a verb, the verb agrees with the noun or the pronoun, not with the relative pronoun. Now, this rule is somehow complex, but let's see the example that we have. Now, what this rule is saying is that we have a noun, then we have a relative pronoun after the noun, then we have a verb. That verb is going to agree with the noun, not with the relative pronoun. Or we have a pronoun, then we have a relative pronoun after the first pronoun, then we now have the verb. The verb is going to agree with the first pronoun, not with the relative pronoun. That is what this rule is talking about. Let's see the examples that we have. Example A: it is you who are stubborn, not me. It is you who are stubborn, not me. Now look at it. We might be tempted to say it is you who is stubborn, not me. Well, that is wrong. Now we have to have the verb are, A-R-E, because that verb has to agree with you, not with who. The verb has to agree with you, not with who. The verb does not agree with who, with the relative pronoun. It agrees with the first pronoun. That is what this rule is telling us. So normally we say you are. So that's why we have it is you who are stubborn. It is you who are stubborn, not me. Let's go to example B. It is I who am wrong. It is I who am wrong. We might be tempted to say what we have in example B. It is I who is stubborn. This is an incorrect expression. It is not correct. That verb is supposed to agree with I, not with who. So that's why we have what we have in example B. It is I who am stubborn. Because am goes with what? Goes with I. Let's come to example D. He who comes to justice must come with clean hands. He who comes to justice must come with clean hands. Now look at the verb that we have there. Singular verb, comes, because it agrees with the subject, with the first pronoun. He comes. So that's why we say he who comes. So the verb comes does not agree with who. It agrees with he. He who comes to justice must come with clean hands. Let's see some related JAMB past questions. Here we have question 65, UTME 2020. The question says, it is you that dash to write the letter. A is suppose. B is supposed. C are suppose. D are supposed. Now if you look at the rule, what the rule says, it says whenever we have a pronoun or a noun before a relative pronoun, then we have a verb. The verb is going to agree with the first pronoun or with the noun. Now you is our pronoun. You is our pronoun. That means our verb in the space must agree with you. Normally if you want to speak, we say you are. You are. That means option A and B are wrong because they have is. Option A and B are wrong. Normally we say you are. Option B, A and B are wrong for that reason. We are left with option C and D. Now the verb suppose that we are going to have in this case, because it's coming after the verb be, after the verb are, is going to be in the past participle, and that is supposed. Supposed. That means option D is our correct option. It is you that are supposed to write the letter. Option D is our correct option. Let's move to the next question. Here we have question 79, UME 1995. He is one of those who dash in my school. He is one of those who dash in my school. A. Teaches. B. Is teaching. C. Are teaching. D. Teach. Let's come back to the sentence again. He is one of those. Take note of that pronoun, a plural pronoun, those. Who, that is a relative pronoun, who, then dash in my school. Now, our verb must agree with those, not with who. That is what the rule says, that the verb agrees with the first pronoun, not with the relative not with the relative pronoun. The verb does not agree with the relative pronoun. The verb does not agree with the relative pronoun. It agrees with the pronoun before the relative pronoun. That is those. That is those. Now, let's see. Because it is a plural pronoun, then we are going to have the plural verb. A. Teaches. Teaches is a singular verb. The verb with S is the singular verb. So, teaches is not correct. Teaches is not correct. B. Is teaching. That is also a singular present continuous tense. Is also wrong. Are teaching. In this case, the continuous tense is not appropriate. So our correct option is option D. He is one of those who teach in my school. Option D. Let's move to the next question. Here we have question 88, UME 2005. You who dash convicted should appeal. You who dash convicted should appeal. A. Was. B. C. Has been. D. Is. Let's see again. You is the subject of the sentence, followed by the relative pronoun who. Then we have the space for the verb. We have said it that in this case, the verb is going to agree with the first pronoun, that is you, not with the relative pronoun who. So we are looking for the verb that agrees with you. Now, of our options, it is only option B that agrees with you. That is the only plural verb that we have. Option A, was, is a singular verb. Option C, has been, is singular. Option D, is also singular. It is only option B that is plural. And we have said it that you always takes the plural verb. Then our correct option is option B. You who are convicted should appeal. Let's go to the next question. Question 75, UME 1992. Ahmed is one of the boys who always dash good work. Ahmed is one of the boys who always dash good work. A. Does. B. Would. B. Would do. C. Do. D. Done. Ahmed is one of the boys who always dash good work. Now look at this structure very well. Ahmed is one of the boys. The boys or boys anyways, comes before the relative pronoun. The boys comes before the relative pronoun who. That means our verb agrees with the boys, not with the relative pronoun. And the boys is plural. Therefore, we look for the plural verb. Let's see the options that we have. Option A, does. Does is wrong because it is actually a singular verb. Let's cancel option A. Option A is not correct. Let's cancel it out. Option B, would do. That is not appropriate in this kind of structure. So option B is also wrong. Let's strike it out. Option C, do. That is the plural simple present tense. That is our correct option. Option C. Ahmed is one of the boys who always do good work. Let's move to the next. Okay, to the next rule. Here, rule 5. The rule says, when two nouns or pronouns are joined together with prepositions or conjunctions like, so when we use these prepositions and conjunctions in blue color, when we use them to join two nouns or two pronouns together, prepositions like with, together with, as well as, along with, in conjunction with, in collaboration with, not less than, including, besides. When we use any of these to join two nouns or two pronouns together, only the first noun or pronoun determines the verb. Only the first noun or pronoun determines the verb. So in this case, we do not consider the second one. Let's see the examples that we have. Example A. The president with 4 of his ministers has traveled to Ghana. The president with 4 of his ministers has traveled to Ghana. Now look at the subject of the sentence. The president. Then we use with a preposition to join the subject together with other subjects, with other noun phrase, 4 of his ministers. Now what this rule is telling us is that in this case, we consider only the president with 4 of his ministers. That is just an accompanying element. So the 4 of his ministers is an accompanying what element. So we don't consider them when we are determining our verb. It is only the first noun, and that is the president. And because the president is a singular noun, then we have has traveled, which is the singular present perfect tense. Has traveled, singular present perfect tense, and that is correct. In example B, our maths teacher together with some students is attending the event tomorrow. Now look at it. Our maths teacher, just only one maths teacher, together with some students. Together with some students will not be considered, will not determine our verb. It is only a maths teacher, because we have this element together with. If it were a math teacher and some students, then we consider it. But together with, we are not going to consider the second noun. And because our math teacher is singular, then that's why we have is attending the event tomorrow. Is a singular verb. Let's come to the last example we have here. The old woman, including 3 of her children, is a seamstress. Now, the old woman, including 3 of her children, that will not be considered in determining our verb. It is only the old woman, and that is why we have the verb is a seamstress. Let's look at some related JAMB past questions. Here we have question 32, UTME 2023. The proprietor of our school with his administrator dash expected yesterday. The proprietor of our school with his administrator dash expected yesterday. A is, B are, C was, D were. Let's come back again to the question. The proprietor of our school is singular, just one proprietor, with his administrator. Look at it, with, not and his administrator. If it were and, then we consider both of them. But because we have with, do not forget those elements I told about, those conjunctions and prepositions, with, together with, in collaboration with, in conjunction with, alongside, as well as any of these. We are not going to consider the second noun. Now, with his administrator, we are not going to consider that. We are only going to consider the proprietor of our school dash expected yesterday. So in this case, because it is singular, then we look for a singular verb. Is singular, are is plural, was is singular, were is plural. Let's first of all erase the plural out because they are wrong. Option B, are is wrong. Let's cancel it out. Option D, were is also wrong. Now we are left with option A is and option C was. These are the two these are the two singular verbs. Now look at it. Dash expected yesterday. Yesterday shows that it is going to be in past tense. Our verb is going to be in past tense. Is present tense. Was is past tense. And for this reason, is also wrong because it is present tense. So the correct option is option C. The proprietor of our school with his administrator was expected yesterday. Option C is the correct option. Before I move away from this particular page, there is another way to look at this in order for us to be able to get the correct answer. Now look at this element with its administrator. With its administrator. Now this element, we said we are not going to consider it in identifying our verb, and that is because actually we can move it. Let's move it to the end of the sentence after yesterday. The proprietor of our school was expected yesterday with his administrator. Can you see? And for that reason, you can see that since we can detach it from the subject of the sentence, then we are not going to consider it as actually part of the element that make up the subject of the sentence. It's just accompanying the subject, not really attached or glued to it, because we can actually detach it. Let's go to the next one. That is question 43, UTME 2023. The principal, together with the vice principals, guilty of misconduct. The principal, together with the vice principals, guilty of misconduct. A is being, B were, C is, D are. Now we have the principal, which is the subject of the sentence. We now have together with the vice principals. That's an accompanying element, so we don't really consider that particular group of words in identifying our verb. It is only the principal that determines the verb, and the principal is singular. Then we have is being. Option A, is being, is wrong because that is not appropriate in this particular question. So is being is wrong. Where is plural, it's also wrong because the subject of the sentence is singular. So because where is plural, it is wrong. Her is also wrong. The correct option is option B, is. The principal, together with the vice principals, is guilty of misconduct. We can also do the same thing today, is what I explained in the previous question, whereby we move together with the vice principal, we move it to the end of the sentence in order for us to see that we can detach it from the subject of the sentence. We can say the principal is guilty of misconduct together with the vice principal. Let's go to the next question. Question 90, UME 1998. The judge with his son traveling to Lagos now. The judge with his son traveling to Lagos now. A, where, B, shall, C, is, D, are, A-R-E. The judge is the subject of the sentence with his son. With his son is just an accompanying element. We can say that the son is accompanying the father, which is the judge, to Lagos. So with his son is not going to be considered when determining the verb. It is only the judge, and that is a singular subject. And that makes our answer to be option C. Option C. The judge with his son is traveling to Lagos now. Let's move to the next question. Question 73, UME 1995. The teacher with his wife being treated nonchalantly. The teacher with his wife being treated nonchalantly. A, where, B, where to be, C, are, A-R-E, D, was. Now the teacher is a subject with his wife. Is that accompanying element that we are not going to consider? Yes. So because the teacher is singular, let's see the correct option. Where is plural? It is wrong. Let's erase where. Option A is wrong. Where to be is also wrong. Are being treated nonchalantly? Well, this is wrong because we do not consider the wife. The subject is singular. are is plural. Let's erase it out. Now, option D is a correct option because it is singular. The teacher with his wife was being treated nonchalantly. We can do the same thing that we did in the questions, whereby we move the accompanying element to the end of the sentence. We can say the teacher was being treated nonchalantly with his wife. Let's move to the next question. Question 59, UTME 1994. Sadatu as well as the maids dash. Sadatu as well as the maids dash. A. Like plantain chips. B. Are liking plantain chips. C. Is liking plantain chips. D. Likes plantain chips. Sadatu is the subject of the sentence. These elements, as well as the maids, is just an accompanying element. We are not going to add it to the subject. I mean, although it's part of the subject, but it's not going to determine the verb. It is only Sadatu that we are going to consider. Sadatu is just one person, then it means our verb is going to be a singular verb. And that is option C is singular, but it is not correct. In this case, we cannot say Sadatu is liking plantain chips. That structure is not appropriate. So the correct option is option D. Sadatu likes plantain chips. Sadatu, as well as the maids, likes plantain chips. This is going to be the end of this video. I want to believe that one or two things has been learned. Thank you for being here. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, drop a nice comment on this video, and of course share this video, recommend the video to others. Thank you. Until I come your way again, do not forget to tell me how you found this video. Is it good? Is it nice? What are the things that makes it different from my previous video? Actually, because I am doing everything on my phone, unlike the previous videos that were done on the system. There has been no electricity, and I just had to settle for mobile phone in order to do my content for the time being. Thank you for being here. Bye bye.